Everything you need to know about GPT-5. Where is GPT-5? That's the question bouncing around tech, Twitter, simmering in AI forums, and occupying the minds of every ChatGPT power user who feels like GPT-4 is starting to show its age. And finally, we have some real answers. No hype, no guesswork. Just facts, carefully worded updates, and a few tantalizing leaks from the heart of OpenAI. Let's start with the big one. GPT-5 is not a myth. It exists. This was all but confirmed when someone who recently left OpenAI updated their resume, stating they had worked on GPT-5. Not a future model, not next-gen LLM research. They literally typed GPT-5. That tells us it's been trained, tested, and now likely waiting behind a curtain until launch day. Which means, at this point, the question is not whether it's coming. It's when and how big of a leap it actually is. To understand that leap, we have got to revisit where we have been. GPT-2 was impressive for its time, but rough around the edges. The AI equivalent of a toddler who would mimic Shakespeare 1 second and babble nonsense the next. GPT-3, launched in 2020, was the moment people started to take language models seriously. It could generate emails, blogs, code snippets, but it was shallow. No real reasoning, easily tripped up by context or nuance. GPT 3.5 in 2022 refined things, faster, sharper, and more usable in real-time applications like GPT's free tier. But it still felt like a really articulate parrot. Then GPT-4 came in 2023 and changed the game. It brought better reasoning, longer memory, image understanding, and multimodal inputs. You could feed it a diagram or a picture, and it could actually interpret it. And then came GPT-4 Turbo, a performance-enhanced version that was faster and more affordable, optimized for real-world products. Now OpenAI is preparing to release GPT-5, a model designed not to be another option, but the option, the one that unifies everything. According to OpenAI's 2025 roadmap, one of the biggest goals with GPT-5 is simplicity. The model zoo with GPT-4, 4.5, Turbo, Mini, 03, 04 High, etc. was starting to overwhelm users. Too many choices, too many model versions. GPT-5 will end that by being a unified, all-in-one system that adapts to each task. So you don't have to choose which version to use. No more model picker, just one brain, flexible, intelligent, and available to scale from casual queries to deep problem-solving sessions. GPT-5 is not just more powerful, it's more capable. GPT-4 introduced tools like Code Interpreter, DALL-E, and web browsing. But these were like attachments, powerful but slightly awkward. GPT-5 bakes those tools into the model itself. That means image generation, video synthesis, web search, deep search, and voice interaction aren't separate features. They are just part of how it works. Needed to draw something? Done. Wanted to run a search and explain the results? Easy. ChatGPT-5 can handle multimodal prompts and outputs, switching between text, audio, image, and even video, all within the same conversation. But this intelligence is tiered. OpenAI is introducing a thinking paywall. Essentially, how long and deeply the model reasons depends on subscription tier. Free users will get smart, quick answers, fast food level AI. Plus users will get longer, more thoughtful outputs, think sit down dinner. And pro users, they get the full course tasting menu, extended reasoning time, longer context, better access to tools. It's a business move, yes, but also an elegant way to manage computer sources for a model that's likely more expensive to run than any before it. So what exactly makes GPT-5 different from GPT-4 in raw capabilities? Here's the breakdown. GPT-4 had fragmented model versions, GPT-5 is unified. GPT-4 used tools as add-ons, GPT-5 integrates them natively. GPT-4 required prompting for chain of thought reasoning. GPT-5 uses it by default. GPT-4's memory was experimental and inconsistent. GPT-5's memory is expected to be longer term, persistent, and user-aware. GPT-4's voice mode was good. GPT-5's voice mode is expected to be so realistic, it may be mistaken for a human in casual conversation. In short, GPT-4 was intelligent. GPT-5 is strategic, expressive, and multimodal. Now, why the delay? GPT-5 was originally expected to drop earlier in 2025, but OpenAI paused the launch. The reason? According to Sam Altman, a breakthrough occurred that made them rethink the model's design. They haven't disclosed what that breakthrough was, but many speculate it relates to better reasoning, tool integration, or model architecture. One insider claimed GPT-5 is less like a single model and more like a brain, one that decides how to think, what part of itself to use, and which tools to deploy. That's not just optimization, that's evolution. This model is not a router that forwards tasks to submodels in the background. It's a unified architecture that internally switches gears, like a person deciding whether to use memory, vision, logic, or speech, and doing it seamlessly. OpenAI's Chief Product Officer, Kevin Scott, confirmed this. GPT-5 will be a fully unified system with built-in decision-making, rather than a meta model that bounces your queries between different brains. And that puts it dangerously close to something we might one day call general intelligence. Let's talk scale. According to a Samsung executive who spoke at Semicon Taiwan in 2024, GPT-5 may have up to 325 trillion parameters, trained on the ultra-advanced NVIDIA B100 GPUs. That's not a typo. It would represent one of the largest machine learning models ever trained, orders of magnitude larger than GPT-4, which was speculated to sit somewhere between 1 to 2 trillion parameters. If true, this puts GPT-5 in a class of its own, less of a model and more of a neural ecosystem. So, what does this mean in practice? GPT-5 won't just be smart, it will be active. We are talking about the shift from AI as an assistant to AI as an agent. GPT-3 answered your questions, GPT-4 helped you write a resume. GPT-5. It can fill out forms, browse the web, follow multi-step workflows, and even take initiative on tasks. OpenAI's Operator project, which allows an AI to browse like a human, is likely a testbed for this functionality. We are entering a world where AI does not just wait for instructions, it starts getting things done for you. And the interaction layer is getting an upgrade. GPT-4's voice mode was surprisingly lifelike. GPT-5 is expected to take that further. Full conversational responsiveness, real-time interruption handling, emotional intonation, and perhaps even character memory. Think of it as CV meets your favorite audiobook narrator, but smarter and with a better sense of humor. Combine that with visual understanding and video generation, and GPT-5 becomes not just a conversation partner, but a multimedia content engine. So, where does all this leave us? GPT-5 is more than just an upgrade. It's the start of something new, something unified, multimodal, agentic, and possibly capable of general reasoning. Not AGI yet, but on the path. It remembers, it reflects, it reasons, it acts. If GPT-3 was AI's childhood and GPT-4 was its awkward adolescence, GPT-5 is the beginning of adulthood. The model that shows up to work, knows what tools to use, and asks, what next? Instead of, what do you want me to say? The future of AI is not just smarter models, it's smarter experiences. And with GPT-5, that future might already be here.